Hey, today I'm thinking about the cross, what the cross means. And as a carpenter, a long time ago, I got the impression that even though it was, of course, where Jesus Christ was died, basically, and in Christianity, I felt like it meant that the cross was like the things you carry in your life, kind of the guilt and responsibility, and I guess I have to say regret about the choices you've made in your life, or what's happened, or what you feel responsible for, and kind of carry that as a burden of guilt and or concern, or just some kind of a weight, some kind of a psychological burden. And that when a preacher would say, throw down your cross, it meant to me, unburden yourself, release yourself from, Jesus forgives you. I don't know if you're really saved, or sometimes it means, especially in some organizations, it means you can achieve salvation, which I guess it's afterlife, and go to heaven. And if you can be released from your responsibility, I guess, to your life. So that aside, the cross, so it could mean a psychological burden that you're carrying that you could release, or it just could mean humans can be saved from their personal condemnation of themselves. Or it could mean, there's a possibility of going to another realm, either a psychological realm or a real physical realm, a whole nother place in life. So let's go on to the cross. As I became a carpenter, and so I started to get the feeling that it meant something else too, that it meant you take the vertical, a perfect vertical line is plumb, and you take a perfect horizontal line, and that is wherever you put it and however it crosses, those two, wherever they cross everywhere, of course, but the horizontal and the vertical, two ideals. It's an ideal because in a world of round planets, and the roundness of space, or the roundness of a planet, or the roundness of the sun was very big in science before the 1600s. The sphere, the math, the dimensions of a sphere dictated a whole lot of calculations that helped Kepler or Copernicus, or various people who were trying to figure out how the Earth is. Is it the center of all the things moving around it, or is it moving around the sun, or is the sun moving? What's what? And so the sphere was an ideal that there were just other theories that came along of ellipse and ovals versus spheres. Anyway, that's way over my head. I'm just saying the cross, if say a cross in a circle, is kind of an ideal idea, and that for a carpenter, this horizontal and vertical issues become some of really the most important consciousness that a carpenter could have, because after all, we're making if we're building a building, or most things are square or rectangular, and the sides are ideally supposed to be plumb, and the floors are supposed to be horizontal. The ideal of horizontal or level, and it fits, it runs through everything that a carpenter thinks about. And so the cross for a carpenter is kind of going back to, take a left turn at Egypt and go however many thousand years you need to go to figure out where it all started. But it's always been there. And the carpenter takes that principle, that ideal of vertical and horizontal, and puts it somewhere, like where the building is, ideally. And then it creates, the perfections or the plan at hand, and it's a organizing principle that's very necessary to the world of construction and the world of aeronautics or any. It's just one of those things, that horizontal vertical relationship that kind of defies nature. We can't really find anything in the stars or any, in the subworld that really is that is a perfect square. I'm probably a little wrong about that, but all I'm saying is then a whole nother thing came up for me with Carl Jung and Wolfgang Pauli had a Jung was his psychiatrist or whatever, and Pauli was kind of a emotional genius, a total genius. And so they were working on this idea that Jung had of synchronicity, which to me is like saying you take the material world that we all know about, and you can explain a lot of behavior in terms of the material world, but even psychological behavior, based on people's experience and their breeding and their genes and so on, and account for their behavior. But then on the other hand, Jung posed, and it goes back, of course he didn't start it, but in being a scientist he had to keep his explanations on the table of what was fairly acceptable for his time, and just to keep his credibility. And so he posed that didn't get real crazy, like tarot cards or something, but he identified some typical archetypes that are roles, are patterns that human life can follow of various careers or ways of thinking or psychological types, and posing that as kind of a pattern that humans respond to or projected through or live by. Apparently, it just worked that way. There was no special derivation for somebody's behavior, that they were this hero type or this businessman type or this nurse type or whatever. They just kind of grew on people. Their role in their behavior and in their life developed, and the whole world of synchronicity, or of why do things happen to people? Why does one person miss the bus and the other person owns the bus? What explains who's calling you and how you know who's calling you, or moments of telepathy, and just a lot of unexplained telepathic or coincidental things that happen. And we're all kind of aware of it, that there is some level of coincidental likelihood. Sometimes we know what's going to happen. We have deja vu. Sometimes in our dreams are just a living moment of deja vu, where something's happening to you and you just know it happened before somehow. Or it's just a dream, it's just a fantasy, and you think it happened before, or you're having a fantasy and then it happens. So there's this kind of stuff. So we don't know what it is. I certainly don't know what it is. I'm just saying that the cross, again, could come up as the, the vast material world that we can account for with science, and right down to quantum physics and small things to planets and large things, and we do our best to explain where they came from and what's going on with it and how it started, and people that can give us more information about that we listen to get power from it. They get credibility, which feels good. It's better than nobody believing anything you say, But what I'm saying is, in this world of energy, this place where somehow human behavior filters through or is projected by or mimics or is on an energy level versus the actual materiality of the world, which is all these moving cars and bodies and bugs and well, I'm just not going to name every form of life, but there are just so many, and they're all interacting automatically. It's an automatic universe. Come on, I don't know what I'm going to say next. It's automatically coming through me from somewhere, and so I'm saying maybe it's this world of synchronicity that I'm drawing from some pattern or some personality or something out there that's, I'm coming up with these words. I'm not thinking about my body, but my heart's beating right on time. My blood's pumping. My cells are all getting the fairly appropriate chemistry that they need and energy. All the life around me is functioning. It's automatic. I'm not running it. My dog's not running my dog, and I'm definitely not running my dog. And it's all just automatically taking place around me, and I'm wondering if the synchronistic world and the material world have this intersection. I could call it a cross, or call it the present, and just watch it. That's what I do. Anyway, enough of that. Talk to you soon.